Hey, leaders, and welcome back to Leading to the Benchmarks. I'm Mignon Hooper, founder of The Belonging Leader, and we're in a brand new mini series, Innovation and Problem Solving. And we're opening with something very much that every leader needs, creative thinking. Not artistic version. This is the leadership version. The ability to see possibilities where others actually see problems. And in this series, it is strategically and intentionally placed right here in the year, right when things are getting busy, complicated, and noisy, because innovation doesn't happen when things have more time. What happens whenever we have better thinking tools? So today's intention is to shift you out of reaction mode and move you in towards the possibility mode. Let me start with this. Have you ever noticed that your best ideas show up in the shower, in the car, or right as you're falling asleep? You know, those moments when you have nothing to write with, or maybe it's just completely inconvenient because you've got that blank space. Now, this is not your brain being random. This is your creativity finally getting the breathing room that it needs. Um, Under pressure, creativity shuts down, and we need to learn how to give it space. And suddenly, the ideas will rush in. And here's the leadership truth for today. Creative thinking isn't a talent, it's a discipline. Leaders don't need more answers, they need better questions. Creativity is simply the ability to see one more angle, the angle that no one has bothered to look for so far. So here's why it matters. When leaders strengthen creativity, thinking changes everything. Creative thinking helps you stop the reactive cycle, see possibilities instead of problems, learn how to innovate under pressure, and lead your team into expansion instead of fear. Innovation isn't spontaneous, it's the result of intentional thinking. And here's how it ties to the belonging leadership. People think boldly when they feel safe. A team that feels judged, they will give you the safest ideas, not their best ideas. A team that feels supported, they will give you the best and the most creative ideas because creativity thrives where belonging is present. Now, there's three big creative blockers for leaders: mental congestion, too many tabs open, not enough space to think. And it could be emotional tabs, it also could be literal tabs on your computer screen. The outcome attachment. Oh, we judge an idea before it even has a chance to take a breath because perfection kills innovation. This might have happened to you, or you might have done it. I know I have. It's happened to me, and I've done this, which is somebody was coming up with a brilliant idea, or the creativity idea started sparking. And as soon as it started coming out of my mouth or the other person's mouth, I was judged and I felt shut down whenever I was being led. But you know what? Also, I've shut other people down, completely unintentional. But you know what? Whenever we're being a better leader, we learn to allow those to stop trying to be perfect in the moment, but give them the space that they need to be creative and think wildly. Identity pressure, which is, I should know this. This is that, imposter syndrome, maybe a little bit of that is, I should already have the answer. No, no, no. As leaders, it's exploration. Our job is to be exploratory and create a space for the team to think more on not only them, but also ourselves. Because it's not about omniscience. We can't know everything, and that's okay. Once we remove these blocks, creativity expands more naturally. Now, here's a thinking framework for you. The tool of the day. It's simple, it's memorable, and it's something your entire team can use. Think. Tilt the perspective. Ask, what's another way to see this? What would a beginner notice that I've missed? Hunt for patterns. Look beyond the symptoms. Every problem leaves breadcrumbs. and invite wild ideas. Suspend judgment. Let others have outrageousness and let it your own outrageousness in. Wild ideas create workable ideas and narrow with purpose. Choose the idea that solves the root problem, not the quickest band-aid. I get it. Sometimes we have to put a band-aid on something so that we can get to the cause. But you know what? Ultimately, our job is to get to the root of the issue, not to continue to do triage and put band-aids on things all day. That can create a lot of chaos for a leader and can create burnout if we're not careful. So kickstart it quickly. Innovation only happens when action starts. A micro actions counts, whether it's creating a 24-hour plan or a step, something to do within the first 24 hours. And then create a next step within 72 hours, something that's actionable that can be measured and checked off. I know whenever I come away from a training, my list of things that are brilliant ideas and all the things I want to do, they can be upwards of, I've come back with as many as 93 pages of notes from going to a convention. That's a lot of content. But what I was able to do is before I left the convention, my intention was to come up with 3 items before I got to or before I got on the plane to come back home. So, and then while I'm on the plane, the next step is to walk away with one thing that I can take action on and focus that that's my biggest thing to go after. Because really, if we can knock over what one main domino, do that one big thing, eat that frog, eat that toad, whatever it is you want to call it, focus on the process and then get it done so that you can move forward. This is how leaders create momentum instead of waiting for it. You know, let's just practice this for a moment. You don't need to share it. You can if you want to. We'd love to have your comments in our page. And while we're here, if you would subscribe, like, share, that would be really great. Comment even better. Unless you don't want to, and that's okay. One of the stubborn problems you've been wrestling with, just go ahead and post that down there or write it down on your paper in front of you or think of it. Now, your job is to tilt it. Look at it another way. Name with one idea, one crazy, wild idea. It could be the exact opposite of what you're thinking. It's like, this is the problem. Like, oh, well, if this wasn't the problem, I would go through this. The silly one, the unrealistic one, whatever it is, just let your brain get creative and don't shut it down. Just keep going with it. Give your brain permission to completely stretch because creativity lives in because creativity lives in permission, not in pressure. So here's some leadership truths for you. The creative leaders, they live by these. Creativity is a muscle. Curiosity is more powerful than certainty. You don't need your brilliant to be brilliant. You need breathing room. Your team will model the thinking that you model, and if you judge your ideas, they will judge theirs. If you explore, they'll explore. I like an exploring team. So, at the heart of the belonging leader, our philosophy is this: belonging fuels innovation. Because people innovate environments where they feel safe to explore, they can challenge assumptions, they can think out loud, they trust their leader's process. Psychological safety is so important. And if they can't trust that the fact that they're in an environment that they can have open dialogue and just be silly with some creative ideas, you might be stifling some business for yourself. Innovation isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about building a room where they feel safe, secure, and those smartest ideas, they can actually surface. So your clarity challenge this week, if you choose to take it, is choose one problem. Work through the think, tilt the perspective, hunt for patterns, invite wild ideas, narrow to one, and then kickstart it within 72 hours. And remember, action is the ignition switch for innovation. As Einstein said, Creativity is intelligent, fun, having fun. And let's just bring some fun back into leadership. I want to tell you that next week we're going to be moving into decision making. And that is where creativity meets clarity and leaders stop overthinking. I'm Mignon Hooper, founder of The Belonging Leader and leading to the benchmarks. I'm going to ask you always, as always, to stop chasing time and go light your fire. Your ideas are waiting for permission to rise. See you next time.